She claimed to be a contractor. How much money did you pay her in total? About $25. None to look up. But he says she's a thief. I found stolen property of mine. I changed the locks she claims under the house into the basement. Upstairs pummeled me, grabbed my laptop, and ran away. And her defense gets lost in the shuffle. Stop playing with the papers. There are more papers there than in the Supreme Court Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Schindlin. This is Judge Judy. Deborah Smith is suing her former employer, Marshall Smith, for the return of her belongings and for damages from an illegal lockout order. All rise. It's case number 157 on the calendar matter. Smith versus Smith. Thank you. You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, Mr. Smith. How did you meet the plaintiff? The plaintiff was a friend of a friend. Approximately 3 years ago. My cat needed babysitting, so I initiated her. I met her again a year ago. And when you say you initiated something a year ago, tell me what it was that you initiated. I had purchased a 100-year-old house, and I was conversing with my friends, and she was present about the problems I was having with fixing the house up. I'd hired an inspector, but he didn't do a good job. I needed plumbing of roof electrical. There was no foundation on my house. Were you living there? I was residing there. Yes, with all those things not being there. No foundation. No plumbing, nothing. They were operational but not totally functional now. We're going to get back how you came to her to help you with all these problems. Stop playing with the papers. There are more papers there than in the Supreme Court. He's got a long history, Your Honor. Sorry. This is going to be very short. Trust me, I hired an agent to redo the roof, which I knew needed. She offered to do it. She said she was a contractor. She said she offered to do the roof herself. That's what she offered with a crew of hers with a crew. Correct. But she doesn't have a contractor's license, and she's been on disability since 1992. And I gave her a small portion of the job to put in a solar tube light in the roof. Did you hire her to do the roof job? Yeah, I did pay her. Yes. How much? About $25,000 to act as a GC general contractor, getting crews to do things in the house. Yes. Ma'am, do you acknowledge, Miss Smith, that you were paid to do some GC work, general contracting work in his house? No, I was not, Your Honor. You were never paid. I reimbursed employees that just don't try to double talk me. Were you ever paid by Mr. Smith for work that you or crews hired by you did on his house? No, Your Honor. Hire the people. He said he needed people and he wanted me to oversee the workers for work on his house. I did not employ him myself. He did just a second. I got it. I don't get come on stability. You don't get any kind of disability. Very careful. You don't get any kind of disability. I had this ability. That's why I met Mr. Smith a second. I asked you a question. What year did you start to collect disability? I was injured at one time in 1992. 1992? In what year, which is even more interesting. Did you stop collecting disability? 2015, so according to you, until shortly before you started to do work for him. You were collecting disability. I did not work just as... Now tell me why your disability benefits were cut off last year. That has nothing to do with this case. Oh, has everything to do with this case? Has everything to do with your last answer. Because when I ask you, well, you paid money to GC and you start dancing around, because if you were paid $25,000 to GC a project, even though you paid other people, then you committed fraud on the federal government, they're going to come looking for you. It has everything to do with this case. You want to tell me why your disability was stopped if it was I had nothing to do with my case with him? Really, your case is dismissed. You may be hustling for a long time, Miss Smith, but you don't hustle me. You don't hustle me. You don't answer my questions. Your case is dismissed. Now, according to you, you let her stay in the house while she was doing some GC work on the house. She said she, of course, said in her now dismissed claim that she was a renter and you illegally evicted her. And therefore she wants $5. E0. That's what her case was about, that I was disposed of. Now we're going to get to your counterclaim. The counterclaim says that she proceeded to, after her keys were taken away, to engage in a course of conduct that was harassment. And at one point she broke into your house and assaulted you. You want to tell me about it? I allowed her to stay in the room as a guest. She lived 40 miles away. I was trying to help her. She had lack of assets, and she disappeared for 3 weeks, and there was a foul odor coming from the room. Was this give me the month December? I'm sorry, November. Okay. I entered the room. I found stolen property of mine, an old flight suit, camera lenses, dog tags, 7 pairs of scissors. It was a total mess. I decided at this point in time that she had been gone for 3 weeks with no communication. Perhaps it was time. I changed the locks. She arrives home. She doesn't even try the lock. She climbs under the house where the foundation wasn't yet into the basement, into the kitchen upstairs, pummeled me, grabbed my laptop, and ran away. She called the police. Yes. Ma'am? Yeah. Please report. Yes. Ma'am, I'll provide you with all the don't give me everything. Just give me the first police report when she came in. I came into the house. When was the last time you had any contact with her in court? Approximately 3 weeks ago. What court? She had filed another motion to dismiss my protection order. She showed up late beyond the roll call and argued with the judge that she was there. And when she wasn't, you filed for protective order. Was it finally granted? Yes, ma'am. And how long do you have the protective order for? A year. Starting March of this year. And that's to keep her away from your house and no kind of me. I know, would you put the papers down? Is there any reason whatsoever that you would want to have any contact whatsoever with Mr. Smith? Yes, Your Honor. I filed the protection order against Mr. Smith in December of 2015, granted. Yes. It was for how long? For 30 days. And I came down just a second migraines and could not make the hearing. I don't care. It was dismissed. Is that what you're telling me? Yes. Just like your order, because it was the fault. I was not able to make it. He has an order of protection against you. That means he can't come near you, which he has not. There's no question in my mind that he has not come near you. Actually, I've got phone calls, Your Honor. Hi. There's no question in my mind that he has not come near you. So why would part of put the papers down? Don't you get you have no reason to look at papers? I've dismissed your claim. I'm merely addressing the countersuit. Well, I have the evidence for the countersuit, Your Honor. You do. Yes, I think I want you to tell me how you got into the house in November when you found that the locks were changed. I was not informed the locks were changed. Your Honor, I want you to tell me how you got into the house in November when the locks were changed. That day earlier, the day before when I was driving there, or actually from 3 days before, Mr. Smith was locked out of the house. He called and he wanted me to come home because he wanted me to let him in the house because he had lost his key. Yes. And then he had told me that he had crawled under the house. Well, when I came back in town, I was only gone for 3 days, and I have text messages and his employees that worked under me. The day, matter of fact, the day before, he had taken my purse. Mr. Stevens had my purse and had sent it over to Marshall's house, which was my house because I'd left it in Cooley Down with him, and he had sent it. I was the last contact you had with her approximately 3 weeks ago, and that was at the hearing. Okay, so this is really what you... Yes, ma'am. Pay careful attention. This is really what you have to do. You have to tell your lawyer that at some point your lawyer has to move before the court, not to allow her without a judge, okaying it first to file a petition against you to reinstate her protective order, to vitiate your protective order. Sometimes when people file serial orders and there's something wrong with them, judges will do that. They will say before a clerk can file anything, it needs a judge's countersignature. Do you understand? What does that mean? I would like to make one short comment. Yes, the judge at the last hearing stated, she's a vexed litigant. I mean, those are nice words if they were said. That doesn't mean an order. Yes, ma'am. I understand by a judge that says before you may file another proceeding against Marshall Smith, you must get judicial approval to do that. The judge has to look at the allegations. Look at the history of the case and say, not again on my watch. Do you understand the counterclaim is dismissed? You have an attorney. Your claim is for sure dismissed. We're done. These are excuses. Thank you. Doesn't have a contractor's license. She's been on disability since 1992. My paperwork that thick was she stole 20 to 25.000 away from me, 5 inches. 6 inches of anti-harassment suits that were filed against him. I think she wanted more money. I have pictures of 1.5-inch watermelons. He wrote, I love you on No, I did not. It's a harasser and a stalker. I don't see myself in jail. And now, the next case, all parties. In the matter of McMurphy versus the Deggy Step Forward pedestrian. Matthew McMurtry is suing motorist Hamid David Siddiqui for damages. resulting from an accident in a parking garage. Mr. McMurphy, it is your claim that the defendant hit you with his car. Yes, ma'am. You were not seriously injured, but you want him to pay your doctor's bills and a couple of $100s for what you claim is lost wages? Yes, ma'am. I don't think Mr. Siddiqui denies that something happened on a particular day between you and his car. Not sure whether he acknowledges that his car hit you in the back of your leg. Yes, ma'am, but he said that you darted out were using a shortcut and he didn't see you, so this happened in an elevated parking garage. Yes, ma'am. And is this the first level, second level? Third level. The first level. Okay, how many levels are there in the parking structure? 6. I believe had you just parked your car, I had just parked my car, me, where your car was parked. This is an incline going up to what would I guess show me. Wait, this is my car. This is okay. And then you got out of your car. Yes, ma'am. And you were walking, I walked up here. He was coming down from the 3rd level and he clipped me in the back of my left leg. Okay. Right after the turn, yes. Ma'am. Okay. And you stopped your car? Yes. Okay, and got out. Absolutely. Okay, Judge Judy continues in a moment. Why wouldn't you turn this over to your insurance? Because I didn't see any problem with his legs, and I could not possibly hit him on the right. Only where I could have hit him would have been on the left. That's for your insurance to figure out. Real cases, real people, Judge. Judy pedestrian Matthew McMurtry says motorist Hamid David Siddiqui hit him while he was walking in a parking garage. You have a discussion with the plaintiff. Absolutely. Was he standing or was he on the ground standing up? Were there any visible marks on your leg? The back of my left calf was red. Did you see that? No, I didn't because I don't think I hit him on the back of his calf. Where did you think you hit him? I don't know if I hit him at all because of what I heard is a bang on my car. That's why you stop? Yes, that's what it was. Yes, it wasn't on the 1st floor. Your Honor, it was on the 3rd floor, this whatever it is. It's your fault. That's not the issue. Okay, let's take it's your fault. You're coming around the turn. He's a pedestrian. You're supposed to go slowly enough so you can stop your car and not hit him. Period. If I hit you, hit him. The question is, did you injure him? Okay, because we have lawsuits where there are injuries, and we have lawsuits where there aren't injuries. So I'm going to end your pain right now. You are responsible for hitting him with your car. The next question is, what are your reasonable damages? So now I'm going to ask you some questions. This happened in the morning. It happened at 6 p.m. Why were you parking in the parking space at 6 o'clock? Where were you going? I work at the Raleigh Times Bar, and we're open till 2 a.m. And I was working a night shift. Did you go to work that night? For an hour. Just a second. Yes. Did you go to work that night? Yes, I did. The answer is yes. Did you stay for your full shift? No. Ma'am, what time did you leave? 7 p.m. Where did you go? My girlfriend picked me up from work. She took me, we grabbed food on the way to the hospital because I hadn't eaten that night. Do you have the hospital report? Yes. Ma'am, I'd like to take a look at it. Thank you, sprain of left knee. Left knee pain, and there was an abrasion on the back of my left leg, which I have a picture of that the following day. I'd like to see it. This is the following day, and that's the day after that. Okay, so you were fortunate there was no fracture or dislocation. Yes. Ma'am, okay. So what is the next thing that you did after you went to the hospital? They told you, they examined you. We just went home the next day. I called David's work trying to get in touch with him, and he wasn't there. So I called the following day, got a hold of him. Told him that I ended up going to the hospital that night and that I needed his car insurance information so that I could file a claim. And he became defensive and said that he didn't want to give it to me until he saw my medical bills in person. So I agreed to show them to on what date did this happen? February 17th of this year. Yeah. Yes. Mom. Okay, kind of car. Were you driving? I'll be MW 650. What year? 2007. Do you have insurance? Yes, I do. He does not. Did you have insurance? I have insurance. I've always have insurance on my cars. Then why wouldn't you turn this over to your insurance? Judge Judy continues in a moment. Did you see a dead cat? Did you see a dead dog? The reason you stopped your car is because you've heard, I'm a video. You have a video. I would like to take a look. Oh, I'd like to see it. Real cases, real people, Judge Judy pedestrian. Matthew McMurtry says motorist Hamid David Siddiqui hit him while he was walking in a parking garage. Now, why wouldn't you turn this over to your insurance? Because at the time that this happened, Your Honor, I asked him if he wants to go to the hospital. I didn't see any problem with his legs, and the story that is shown in the picture, I could not possibly hit him on the right. I have the video that shows that the only way I could have hit him would have been on the left. It was all totally on the blind side where he's parking his car that he's identifying and walking to a cross. That's for your insurance to figure out, Your Honor. I wasn't a second that was for your insurance to figure on. I wasn't going to give a person that I didn't know my insurance information. I asked him if he wants to go to the hospital and file a report. He said he's let me explain something to you, so that's why you have insurance. So the next thing that you're going to do for me is get me proof that on February 17th of this year you had insurance, and with what company I'd like to see it. Please, this is from Geico and your car was in fact insured. Well, then I think you made a big mistake, sir, that you didn't report this to your insurance because you're responsible for his medical bills. And for his lost wages, judge if I hit him that I would, yes. Well, even you said you hit him. Sir, did you see a dead cat? Did you see a dead dog? Did you see a log? The reason you stopped your car is because, Judge, you got to give me an opportunity to show you that that whole drawing is wrong. As well, I have a video. You have a video event. I would like to take a look at that. Oh, I'd like to see it. Yeah. And I think there's a video that I can get from the parking garage that you can as well. Look if you wouldn't mind. Of course, you hit the play and then you can see that the way he has. Showing this drawing, Your Honor, is incorrect. Why would some just a second? Don't ask me a question. Okay? You've recreated this. So you're showing me the inside of the parking garage. Right. Thank you, Judge. Mr. McMurtry. Did you have contact a lawyer? I did tell me when in the middle of April, just after he refused to give me his insurance information. And he threatened to get a lawyer who threatened. I have emails here. Once I received my medical bills, I contacted David through email. Okay? I'd like to see them. Okay. Now I'll see your hospital bills. Sure. And so you contacted the attorney after the refusal to pay the medical bills? Yes. Ma'am. Great. How much were the medical bills? $1. $9.75.19. And in addition to that, you're suing for $200 for lost wages. I assume that those were the lost wages from the night that you didn't work. Yeah. It's actually $165. It's roughly an estimate of what I would make on a Wednesday because I make tips. Plus my hourly wage, $125, is about in the middle of what I would make on a Wednesday. Should have turned it over to your insurance company. Sir, they would have sorted it out and it wouldn't have. Judge Judy continues in a moment, and on the next Judge Judy, it's okay. I still say I didn't hit the kid. Yes. You can't always give the stranger benefit for the benefit of the doubt. I asked him for every information he provided me. Zero information. He was mid-turn. His tire was sticking out from the side of his car. And that's what grazed the back of my legs. Zero pictures. You can't have all these scratches on someone's. It wasn't a bumper. It was his tire and not see it as soon as it happens. But it's all good. Just do the right thing. Everything's fine.